Well, you don't say. Oh, well, welcome. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Bound in Prose. I am your host, Matt, and I'm so grateful that you clicked on this video today. So I know that this channel is still kind of in its infancy, don't have a lot of videos out there just yet, but I thought we'd go ahead and start a new series, something that I am very excited for, and that is Let's Read a Classic. So this is going to be less of a review and more of a vlog. So the first book that we will be reading for this series is David Copperfield by Charles Dickens. I am a big Dickens fan. My experience with Dickens so far is I have read Great Expectations, Tale of Two Cities, Hard Times, Bleak House, Christmas Carol, and I'm sure that there are more that I am just forgetting about at the moment. But yeah, so I've read a couple of Dickens novels. A big fan. He's actually quite hilarious to read. But now we're going to get around to one of his more well-known and, from what I understand, the most autobiographical of his novels. So I picked up this edition from Half Price Books. And this is about, well, a little over 800 pages long. So the way I think I'm going to structure this vlog is I'll probably try to check in with you every 100 pages or so, or anytime that there's just some major event that happens, anything that I want to talk about. But if you haven't read David Copperfield, maybe go ahead and pick up a copy and come back and we can see if we have similar opinions on things. If you've already read it, maybe it'll be a nice trip down memory lane, kind of refresh you on what happens in this book. So anyways, let's get started. So after filming my introduction, I decided that I had just finished 1Q84 and I needed to take a night off and just mindlessly watch some YouTube and just kind of decompress from 1Q84, and then I started to feel a tickle in the back of my throat. So anyways, it is the next day. I tried to get up and go to work, but I was sniffling and... Hi. Anyways, I was sniffling and... Anyways, I got sent home, so... but yeah, you know what? When you're home in bed and you're sick, what else is there to do besides sit in bed and read? Or nap. We'll see what happens. So I promise not to do this all the time. I'm not going to give you a play-by-play of each chapter. But so I read chapter 1, and it is already so Dickensian with Mrs. Betsy Trotwood showing up, and she hasn't been around, but you're going to name the daughter after me, please. And so it's just such a blustering, pretentious, head in the clouds Dickens character. And if you know anything about Dickens, he was a big critic of his society, and so a lot of these kind of characters show up all the time. But I'm already kind of in stitches about this character. And then whenever David Copperfield is born and the doctor informs Betsy that it's in fact a boy and not a girl, she storms out. So, oh my gosh, y'all, we are already off to the races. Okay, so I read the first chapter, then taught a private music lesson, made some dinner, kind of got everything ready to chill out for the evening, and I made some tea. Cute little sloth hanging on there to my tea ball. And I'm going to spend the rest of the night getting through some more of David Copperfield. So I will check in with y'all in a bit. Okay, so if anybody thinks like classics can't be funny or clever or kind of like take you by surprise, so I'm not going to give any spoilers for this, but I want to read this short little passage. So this character, upon this, put his hand underneath the skirts of his coat and brought out his flute in 3 pieces, which he screwed together and began immediately to play. My impression is, after many years of consideration, that there never can have been anybody in the world who played worse. He made the most dismal sounds I have ever heard produced by any means, natural or artificial. I don't know what the tunes were, if there were such things in the performance hall at all, which I doubt, but the influence of the strain upon me was, first, to make me think of all my sorrows until I could hardly keep my tears back, then to take away my appetite, and lastly, to make me so sleepy that I couldn't keep my eyes open. Good grief. Okay, everyone, it is time for our first official update, even though I've kind of made some little clips in between starting this. But I am now on page 98 of David Copperfield, and I am so engrossed so far. It is very Dickensian, very interesting. I love the way that it's written so far. A lot has been set up. I mean, the exposition is really good. We have our critic here who is really interested in what's going on. We've already met so many of the Dickensian archetypes. We have the scoundrels. We have like the elitists. We have like the stern father figure, and his sister, which I'm not sure how I feel about them yet. We will see. I'm a bit suspicious of these characters, so we will see. But yeah, David has moved away and now he's at Salem House, and that's about all I'll give in terms of concrete detail. Okay, so now on to the next 100 pages. So I have a few things to do this evening before I'm able to just kind of sit down and start reading again. Sorry. So, yeah, I have a few things to do, and then I'm going to sit down and I'm going to try to get through some more of the next 100 pages. So I will check in with you again soon. Good morning, beautiful people. It is Sunday. It is a rainy Sunday. So last night I got home from work and was able to kind of make my way through a little bit more of the next 100 pages. I'm getting really close to page 200, but since it is a kind of rainy Sunday, I'm going to make some lunch here, and I'm going to spend my afternoon getting through some more David Copperfield. So I will check in with you in a bit, and then we will continue on our way. Okay, so we have officially made it to page 199. I am on chapter 15 now, and man, the past 100 pages or so, one of the main things that's been running through my mind is how much is David going to be made to endure? I mean, good grief. He has experienced a bunch of loss. Somebody that was really close to him passed away, and then another person that he loved dearly has gotten married and moved away, and then David is shipped off to work at this rat-infested hellhole that he hates, and he meets a new family that he comes to love, but they're dirt poor, and there's this whole thing with like a debtor's prison, which I believe is pretty autobiographical to Charles Dickens' life. I believe his father was in a debtor's prison at one point. I could be mistaken about that, but anyway. So yeah, we had the reappearance of Miss Betsy Trotwood, who at the beginning was really upset that David's mother had a boy, not a girl, and she is still a trip. She's earned a few brownie points for me in this past chapter, but with the way things that have been going, I don't know that I'm fully ready to trust any character right now besides David. But yeah, anyways, so I am thoroughly engaged. I'm loving this book. It's so full of humor, even though David is going through so much and people are taking advantage of him left and right. And the Murdstones, I cannot stand those people. But, you know, that's another reason Miss Betsy Trotwood got a couple of brownie points from me, is because she told them exactly what I was hoping somebody would tell them. So, yeah, that was a great scene to read. But, yeah, so I have to take care of some business this afternoon. I got some business coming in, and you know, whenever you're able to make some money, you got to try to make some money. So we're gonna have to put the reading aside for a couple of hours, but maybe this evening after dinner, I'll be able to come back, sit down, and start knocking out the next 300 pages. So I will check again with you soon. Sorry, not knocking out the next 300 pages, knocking out the next 100 pages to get to page 300. So, anyways, just wanted to clarify. Okay, another quick aside. I have to read this one quick line. Please tell me this is not done over in England anymore. So it says, he wept, but so far recovered almost immediately as to ring the bell for the waiter and bespeak a hot kidney pudding and a plate of shrimps for breakfast in the morning. All right, good morning, everybody. So it is Monday morning. I've got to go back to work a little bit today, but in between breakfast and lunch, I'm going to try to read another chapter or two of David Copperfield, and then maybe this evening we'll get through even more of it. So, yeah, I will check back in with you here in a bit. Okay, the day's work is done. I am back at home, and I am going to get myself all snuggled up. It is finally feeling like fall/winter in Texas. So, yeah, I'm going to get snuggled up, make some tea, and I'm going to try to get as close as I can to page 300 tonight. I'll check in with you in a bit. And tonight we have the bumblebee on the tea bag instead of the sloth. Okay, good morning, everyone. So it is Tuesday. Today is Halloween. So happy Halloween, everyone. I am going to go and sit in a coffee shop this morning and try to do a little bit of business. And then I am going to come home and maybe read a little bit. And then, I don't know, I might watch a scary movie tonight. It seems like the appropriate day to do that. So, anyways, I will film a little bit of an update later. Last night, I made it to page 314, so I'm a little bit past my next checkpoint, but it was pretty late, and I decided it was better to just go to bed and film the review or the catch-up, the checkpoint today. So, anyways, I will check in with you in a bit. All right, hello, everyone. I am back from the coffee shop, and I am ready to sit down, just kind of give a little update on David Copperfield. So I am now on page 314. And yeah, a lot has happened in the last 100 pages. Around page 200, we left David. He had just gotten to his aunt's house, Miss Betsy Trotwood, and he started staying with her. She gave him a new name. His name is now Trotwood, or Trot as they call him. And he started to go back to school in Canterbury, and things have kind of evened out for David for a while. doing pretty well. It's the most stable he has been since the book started. And so he finished school, met back up with a lot of old friends from the first 200 pages or so. And then he and one of his friends from the Salem house, Steerforth, have gone to visit his old friends, the Peggottys. I believe that's how you say that name. But yeah, and so that's where we have left him. David is now a teenager and has started to become interested in some ladies, and very heartbroken when one of the objects of his affection turns out that she just got engaged. So, still David is kind of rolling with the punches of life and, still maintaining a pretty indelible spirit. So, yeah, I'm still thoroughly engrossed in it, still loving it, and I cannot wait to see what the next 100 or so pages holds. So, yeah, I'm going to make some dinner and see if there's any other business to attend to before I sit down and kind of relax. But anyways, I will check back in with you in a bit. Okay, I'm sitting down to read. I am on page 320, and I just want to go ahead and say that I am sorry for what I said at the very beginning of this vlog about Miss Betsy Trotwood. So, as of now, there's still a lot of book left to read, but as of now, I'm sorry for what I said about her. I actually really like this character. All right. So it turned out to be a pretty eventful day. So I ran a couple of errands and filmed a video with Justin that you've probably already seen by now. And then he came back over after dinner. We watched the Blair Witch Project since it's Halloween. So I'm sitting down to read a little bit more before bed. I just finished chapter 24, and David spent the last half of that chapter drunk and going to the theater. And so what a chapter that was. So anyways, I will update you whenever I have made a bit more progress, probably either tomorrow or the next day. I've got a couple of really busy days ahead of me, so hopefully we'll make some progress, but we gotta do some adulting. Okay, hello everyone. Time for another update. So I am teaching from home today, and during my 2-hour lunch break, I was able to make it to page 402 in David Copperfield. So we are right at halfway through. And these past 100 pages have been really interesting. I feel like we are now truly past all the exposition and setup, and the past 100 pages have been about David and all of his acquaintances kind of meeting each other, and there's a lot of conflict that is being set up. One of the characters, Steerforth, is I'm feeling like gonna do something here pretty soon. He's been kind of mysterious, and people are wondering what's going on with him, what his plan is. So and especially with the chapter that I just finished on, David alludes to he wished he could keep Steerforth in his mind as he was at this particular moment, so that he wouldn't have to recall what's gonna come. So there's some foreshadowing there. Met back up with Tommy Traddles from the Salem house, who is now living nearby, and he has gotten in with the Macabres, the people who were really poor. Mr. Macabre is in financial difficulty again. It seems like the man can't ever get out of his financial difficulties, and I'm afraid that he is going to mess up Tommy. But yeah, and then David has met a girl, Dora, that he adores. And so not a whole lot has happened in regards to that, except that David is kind of infatuated with Dora. And so we will see if he actually makes any moves to, woo her. We will see. But still very much enjoying it. The web was definitely thickening in the past 100 pages. So, anyways, I have got to do some teaching this afternoon, and then I'm going to call it an early evening, eat some dinner, and then try to start making my way to page 500. So I will let you know when I have something else to say. So I'm now on page 438, and Mr. Murdstone has shown up to where David works getting a marriage license, and I cannot roll my eyes hard enough. I still detest this man, and anyway, bleh, I cannot stand this character. I knew Steerforth was going to do something crazy. I mean, it says, it alludes to him kind of doing something a little bit devious, but yeah, so now I know what that is. Yeah, wow, okay, so anyways, and then they go to see his mother concerning this thing that he has done, and she basically, takes his side as a mother would, but then she insults Emily, and I understand that that's how it was at the time, but woo, got me a little bit heated. Okay, it is Sunday. Took a couple of days, didn't really film anything, but I have kept on reading. I am now on page 502, and so we are a little over halfway through. So yeah, the past 100 pages, David is now kind of into his early adulthood. He's got a fairly stable job, found a girl that he likes, proposed to her, and she's accepted it, and yeah, so it seems in the past 100 pages that a lot of the characters that have been established have been starting to have some issues, whether it's of their own making or something that they can't help. So, like with Steerforth, he's definitely created this situation for himself. He's run away with Emily, and nobody knows where they went, but they kind of are eloping. Excuse me. Yeah, and then Miss Betsy Trotwood is ruined now, and so she has come to be closer to David and to kind of live closer to him. But I love how David is handling that and how he is kind of going out and trying to figure out what he can do, what extra jobs he has to do, what he has to sell in order to help his aunt. So I really like the arc that the aunt has had. And then, Tommy Traddles is back, and he's gotten in with Mr. Micawber, who is constantly having financial issues. And so, once again, Mr. Micawber's having financial issues. And there was a pretty funny scene where he writes Tommy an IOU, and he basically is like, there, I have done my due diligence, and I can show my face around town, even though he didn't pay him any money. But anyways, so still really enjoying it. I think we've probably got about all the characters we're going to get. And in a lot of Dickens books, you'll have these seemingly unrelated characters who will come together in the end in a really interesting way. I don't know that that's what's going to be the case in this, because it's just all about how, the friends and relations that David has made. But anyways, so since it is Sunday, I got up and I cleaned a little bit and just had some lunch, and it's a nice pretty day. I've got a really long week ahead of me, and so I had to have a little bit of rebellion here, adulting, but we will we will do our best this coming week. Anyways, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to knock out some more of David Copperfield this afternoon, and I will talk to you again soon. Well, it looks like things are not going to go as smoothly for Dora and David. So,
Anyways, the chapter that I started on, the dissolution of a partnership, was quite a wild chapter. A lot happened in that chapter, and I will say this: I absolutely loathe Miss Murdstone. I cannot stand that woman. Oh my goodness. And then a couple chapters later, we meet back up with Uriah Heep, also a character that for a while I was kind of like, I don't know if like he really is as bad as David makes him out to be. I mean, he seems like he could be sort of like a weasel, and I think, yeah, it's confirmed for me, at least in this last chapter that I read, that he is indeed like a devious person, kind of sneaking in and you know, living off of. He's parasitic. He's parasitic to not Mr. Micawber, to Mr. Wickfield and Agnes. So, anyways, I'm going to take a brief break here. I'm going to run to the grocery store. I am wanting to get some enchiladas for dinner, so I'm going to go pick up some of that, and that way I can start to get that prepared, and I'll keep reading a little bit. So I'll talk to you again soon.
Okay, everyone, it's about 9 o'clock on Sunday night. I had an absolutely delicious dinner. I went out and got some enchiladas, refried beans, Mexican rice. It was so good. Anyways, I finished that up and then decided to sit back down and try to make some more headway in David Copperfield, and I am now on page 599. So we are starting to get close. Starting to get close to the finale. A lot has happened in these past 100 pages. There's still no sign of Steerforth and Emily, and Mr. Peggotty came back and he's just not been able to find them, but Emily sent him some letters basically still asking for forgiveness. And anyway, so there's that. We've got a lot more of Uriah Heep in the past 100 pages, and gosh, this character kind of reminds me of like Wormtongue from Lord of the Rings. I cannot stand this guy. He's so manipulative and slimy and sleazy, but he puts on this sort of innocent air, I'm so humble, but then he tells David Copperfield that, acting like that is what's got him so far in life. And I mean, I just cannot stand this character. And then another character that I was really on the fence about was Dora. Like, I understand that she's kind of spoiled, has been spoiled most of her life, and she doesn't really know how to do very much. But it does kind of seem that she earnestly does love David, and they are married now, and they are kind of learning how to live together, and Dora is starting to try to figure out how to be like a better wife for David and actually like take care of some of the things that wives during this time, were supposed to take care of. And but yeah, like I'm coming around to her. We still got 200 pages left, so I'm kind of worried that maybe something bad is going to happen in this relationship, but I guess we shall see. But yeah, so still very much into it, still enjoying it, and since there's still some more of the night left, I'm going to sit down and see if I can't make even more progress. So hopefully I will be finished with this book by the end of the week, and then we can do a final wrap up and on to the next video. All right, I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, hello everyone. I am at a theater rehearsal where yours truly will be playing Jacob Marley in A Christmas Carol. And so I don't have very many pages, and I'm kind of waiting around for my scene. So let's read some Dickens while we're waiting to perform some Dickens.
Hello, everyone. It is the penultimate check-in. So it is Monday night. I am back from theater rehearsal, and as I was sitting there and they were running everything that wasn't my little scene, I was able to sit in the back and kind of read a little bit, and I am now on page 727. So look at that. We are just about there. You can barely even see the pages left. So we are less than 100 pages from the ending. So, starting to wrap everything up. Some really satisfying resolutions to the conflicts, and then some not so satisfying things happened. And so, one of those being what has happened to Dora. Poor Dora, the little blossom. And so, I actually did kind of like this character. I mean, nobody's perfect, but yeah, in the end, I liked her. And so that was really sad. And I did really enjoy the resolution, which so far, I don't know that it's the final resolution if we're going to see this character again, but I enjoyed seeing Uriah Heep get what's coming to him. So, yep, he was definitely a sleazebag and definitely reminded me a bit of Wormtongue from Lord of the Rings. And so just kind of sitting in there and forging documents and just, doing all kinds of nasty, underhanded stuff to make himself rich and to make Mr. Wickfield poor and desolate and make him seem like a drunk. And just, anyways, I hated that character. And then also another nice thing is with Mr. Micawber. So I hope that his story turns out good in the end. It seems like it is finally turning around for him. He's gonna immigrate with the Peggities, which that was another thing. They Mr. Peggity's story and little Emily's story is kind of coming to a close now. So she is back with Mr. Peggity, and they are going to immigrate to Australia, and Mr. Micawber and Miss Micawber and their children are going to go with them and try to get a fresh start. So a lot of things are really looking up. And then the final thing I'll say is Miss Betsy Trotwood. Unless you're going to do something heinous in the last, 80 pages, my apologies to you, ma'am, for what I said about you at the very beginning, that you were a blustering airhead. You kind of were. But redeemed in my eyes. And so, anyways, yeah, I really, really like this book so far. We will see how everything comes out in the wash in the next less than 100 pages. But anyways, I will update you when this is finished. It's done. And there you have it. That's David Copperfield. So I really enjoyed this book. Jumping into classics like this, particularly those with older styles of language, sometimes they can be a little bit of a challenge to get through. I mean, we're just not used to speaking in this way, and sometimes it can be a little difficult to understand what's going on. But I found this to be pretty accessible. I did read a little bit slower than, maybe some of the more modern English novels, but I still thoroughly enjoyed this. To me, David Copperfield is a wonderful story about someone's life. It encompasses so much of what makes us human, the challenges that we face in life, the joys that we face in life. I'm going to keep going. I know that he's here and he's distracting, but no, I felt like I really got to know this character, and it's really interesting knowing that this was rather autobiographical. And so I wonder how much of this is actually true in relation to Dickens' life. I might have to do a little bit of research. But yeah, so I ended up giving this a 5-star on Goodreads. The last 200, 300 maybe or so pages, I started to kind of feel like this might be a 4-star. Like, I'm kind of getting a little bit bogged down in it. I'm, just kind of ready to get towards the end, but it wrapped up so beautifully, and I will also say that I guessed the ending. I'm not going to tell you what it is because you just need to read the book or go look it up on Cliff Notes. But anyway, I guessed what was going to happen, and I'm very glad it did. I thought it was beautifully written. I felt so happy for all the characters, all the loose ends, tied up perfectly, and it's a really good story. It's a really good book. So if you've read it, I'd love to know what your opinion is on it. Comment down below. If you haven't read it and you're interested in classics, you've read some classics and you just kind of don't know what to read next, I would recommend David Copperfield. And then one other very quick book nerdy thing before I let you go. So I have had this bookmark for about 7 or 8 years. And as you can see, it's been through a lot. It's kind of weathered on the side. It's lost its tassel. It's still good for a while, but I'm just going to go ahead and move it over to my secondary reads or books that I'm studying out of. So we're laying this one to rest, and we are going to be using our brand new bookmark with a fresh tassel. So it has the popular Celtic blessing on it, and it's just something I'm very excited about. But anyways, I so appreciate you joining me. I appreciate all the support for the videos that I have put out so far. There's a lot of readers out there, and I'm so grateful that you've come to join me for some of that. So anyways, if you'll like, comment, subscribe, call me names if you want to. I will see you again soon. Really?